Day live here at the Mainstay. Austin Stanley and Luke Worsham with you here at the Mainstay, just 2 blocks away from Nissan Stadium, where the Titans at 7-2 are getting set to host the New Orleans Saints in a big game. The Titans are facing their 5th consecutive playoff team from a year ago in a game that the Titans should win. There's backups across the formation and across the lineups for both teams in this game, but the Titans are getting some key guys back. A to Z Sports Titan Game Day live from the Mainstay. Every home game right here from the Mainstay next to Nissan Stadium in downtown Nashville. The away games at Mill Creek Brewing Company. But if you are at the Mainstay, Mill Creek beers are 2-for-1 drafts during all Titans games, so make sure you check that out. Also, thanks to NashvillePowersports.com. If you need a brand new golf cart, they got you right there. Locally owned and operated at NashvillePowersports.com. And BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Download the BetMGM app and use our code ATOZ Sports for a risk-free bet up to $1,000 with your first deposit and your first bet. Luke is in for Zach today. Zach, hopefully, will be back soon later on, feeling a little under the weather throughout the week. But Luke, big game. I mean, the Saints are a good defense.
Yes.
But Trevor Siemian makes you think Titans fans might be licking their chops a little bit here.
Yeah, the Saints are a weird team. They have the number 1 run defense in the NFL in a lot of different ways. They have the number 1 defense in rushing yards per game. They are the number 1 defense in rushing yards per play, right? So this is not a pushover team.
Right.
But, like you mentioned, they have Trevor Siemian at quarterback. And Austin, watching him practice in training camp last year when he was battling out with Logan Woodside for the Titans' backup job, this guy's not very good. Weird team, the Saints are. You know, they're sort of in this post-Drew Brees haze. Their starting quarterback, Winston, who'd been playing okay, out for the year. So really hard game, I think, to peg. I'm interested to see what you think about it as we get going this morning. But it's good to see everyone piling in as we look ahead to Titans versus Saints in just under half an hour. Before we do get going, we need to remind you this morning to share the show, because the unique thing about A to Z Sports is it's not just a conversation between Austin and me. It's a conversation between all of us. We'll be wanting your opinions, your takes throughout the show today. And so whether you are listening or watching this morning on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, be sure to share the show. We need to appear in the timelines / news feeds of your friends, family members, or other associates.
Yeah, and so this is a big game. Look, the Titans don't need this game to be able to achieve their goals of earning the number 1 seed in the AFC, but because, frankly, thanks to the Ravens' loss to the awful Dolphins on Thursday night, the Titans are going to be number 1 in the AFC with a win or a loss today. But I do think it is important for momentum to continue and win a game that is absolutely winnable to help you create extra separation.
Well, and we've made a lot about the Titans having the easiest schedule over the rest of the season. I think we talked about that on Thursday. But part of having that easy schedule is you got to beat the people you got to beat, right?
Yes.
You don't want to have to take your chances with Mac Jones and Bill Belichick, who are playing very, very well over the last month. You don't want to have to take your chances with Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. You want to take your chances with Trevor Siemian at home.
No doubt, no doubt. So I do think this game will be determined by who handles one key storyline the best. And I think the biggest storyline in this game, Luke, is who's not playing.
Yeah, definitely.
And so when you look at the Titans, who is not playing for the Tennessee Titans? Julio Jones is on IR. So that means that he was out for a minimum of the next 3 games. Then the Titans have their bye week, so maybe he comes back. You get Julio to rest for 4 straight weeks.
I do want to say this. Michael says he's wearing his Julio jersey. The Titans win whenever he wears it. I'm going to guess Michael has worn a Julio jersey more than Julio has worn a Julio jersey this season.
You're probably not wrong there. So Julio is not playing. David Long Jr., the Titans' leading tackler,
linebacker,
is not playing. Rashaan Evans, the other starter, continues to not play with an injury. T.R. Tart, training camp darling, is also out for the Titans. Now, obviously, Greg Maben is out with an injury, but Radens and Bobby Hart are out as healthy scratches. But you look at who the Saints don't have. Alvin Kamara, he's out. That's a big storyline here.
Yeah.
Teron Armstead, the Saints left tackle, is a 3-time Pro Bowler. He is out. And then C.J. Gardner-Johnson, one of the starting safeties for the New Orleans Saints, is also on IR. So that's 7 big names, 7 big contributors on both of these teams who are not playing. I think that's the biggest storyline. And to me, the storyline is who handles this injury situation better, Mike Vrabel and his staff or Sean Payton and his staff. And that doesn't even get to Trevor Siemian being the starting quarterback and Derrick Henry being out too. Because once you talk about Henry's long-term injury and Jameis Winston's long-term injury, that's just more notable names who are not playing in this game.
But this is not a new development for the Titans. What is new is these specific players being out, right?
Sure.
But the injuries have been the thing all season long with this team. If there's one phrase that has been spoken more than any other from the area of St. Thomas Sports Park and Amulet Lake over the last 2 months, it has been next man up, right? That's what this team preaches. And to Vrabel's credit, they actually put it into practice, right? Every football coach says next man up after an injury, but the Titans actually effectuate it. They actually put it into practice week in and week out. What you do worry about, though, what I would worry about anyway, is at a certain point you just run out of juice. We saw that happen in Vrabel's first year in 2018, where every single week Delaney Walker goes out, Logan Ryan goes out, key players were going out. Eventually, end of the season happened, Mariota went out, and they just ran out of juice. They had nothing left.
No doubt.
I don't think this team is nearing that territory, but look, I'm all about praising them for what they've done with injuries, but I wrote a column about this about a month ago, and that tells you, how persistent this problem has been. Like, they got to get guys. Like, they need bodies, even though they are 6-2 at this point.
Yeah, no doubt. So let's go ahead and get to this question, Luke, because I find this interesting. Because I just mentioned
6-2 or 7-2.
They're 7-2.
That's my thought. Sorry, I knew that was wrong.
Yeah, you can't leave out that
wrong.
huge Sunday night win over the Rams last Sunday. But here's the question to get you guys more involved here on the NashvillePowerSports.com pregame show, is because I just mentioned all the Titans that are out of this game. Well, let's focus on some key Titans. They are getting back in this game. So which returning Titans player will have the biggest impact today versus the Saints? And I think it's 3 simple options. Which returning Titans player will have the biggest impact versus the Saints? You have Christian Fulton, the cornerback, who's been out for 4 weeks. Taylor Lewan, who missed last week's game against the Rams with his knee issue. And then Nate Davis is back on the offensive line after missing last week with a concussion. So which of these 3 has the biggest impact of returning Titans back? So we're going to get to your comments here momentarily. But first, let me remind you that this pregame show is the Nashville Power Sports pregame show. And if you want a brand new golf cart to dominate the neighborhood streets, that's where you go. Or maybe you need a souped-up golf cart for your business, for your company, whatever you guys might do. Nashville Power Sports has all of it there. They can customize anything. They can customize whether it's a 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater. They can make anything street legal. They can do it any color scheme. We talk about at Mill Creek Brewing Company where we do away games. They've got a Titans-themed golf cart there from NashvillePowerSports.com. Also, they can take off those speed restrictions. So if you want your golf cart to go as fast as possible, Nashville Power Sports can do that for you. Again, they're locally owned and operated in the Middle Tennessee area. So go check them out, NashvillePowerSports.com.
All right, let's look at some comments here, what people have to say about the player coming back for the Titans from injury that will make the biggest impact. Will says Christian Fulton. I think that's probably going to be the popular answer.
Yeah.
Derek says Fulton. Marquis says Lewan. Trevor says Lewan. Kendrick says Fulton. Ethan says Lewan, and it's not even close. Hard disagree there, Ethan. I don't mind your answer, but I do think it is pretty close. I'll explain why in a moment. Chris says Lewan will help major today, though, with Julio out. Can't disagree with that. And Brian, the first comment I've seen that said Nate Davis.
All right, so I'm going to start with my opinion. I think, look, Christian Fulton is by far the Titans' best cornerback, and they need him. And I think it's a fantastic thing that they're getting him back in this game.
Yep.
But I also look at the matchup. The Saints wide receivers are nothing special, right? Like You've got Marquez Callaway from Tennessee. You got a couple other guys that don't really do much. And there's no Alvin Kamara. And there's Trevor Siemian. So I'm not too worried about the Saints passing game, where having Christian Fulton out there is absolutely a bonus, but that's not that big of an impact play. I think it's down to the 2 offensive linemen. I think it's down between Lewan and Nate Davis. And I don't know how you feel about this, Luke. I'm going with Lewan.
Okay.
I think Taylor Lewan has the biggest impact in this game from a positive side standpoint for the Tennessee Titans, simply because what were the Titans unable to do or unable to even try to do against the Rams Sunday night?
I mean, they couldn't run the ball on first or second down, and as a result, they couldn't move the football.
They couldn't, more specifically, they could not push the ball down the field through the air.
No.
Their longest play was 16 yards, and it was on a quick slant off of play action to A.J. Brown.
Bobby Hart did his best Will Svitek impression.
Dang it, Bobby. I mean, all of the King of the Hill fans are just furious at Bobby Hart, but that's a big deal because Cam Jordan, this defensive front from the Saints, Tannehill and A.J. Brown and some of these other wide receivers got to be able to push the ball down the field or at least have a threat to.
Yeah.
There was not a single deep ball thrown by Ryan Tannehill 20 yards or more down the field.
Nope.
Because Bobby Hart didn't allow that to happen.
So I think it is very close between Fulton and Lewan. And let me explain why Fulton, I think, matters so much. Because what Fulton does more so than, hey, he's going to cover whoever he's on better than Greg Maben did or Chris Jackson or whatever, Christian Fulton makes life easier for Shane Bowen. He can play more man coverage. He can blitz more. We haven't seen very many. They don't need to, though. But we haven't seen very many blitzes from the Titans lately.
Right.
And I know that the front four, or the TTM, if you please, have been playing very well, and they haven't needed to. But it opens up the toolbox for Shane Bowen. Just that one player opens up a lot of things because you can say, hey, Christian Fulton, go get your guy on this play. Even if that guy is not, an Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins type. You can still say, go get your guy, frees up other things.
No, I agree.
But I'm going to have to agree with you that Lewan is the key thing because it was painful watching Bobby Hart play left tackle last week. And this Titans offense did really nothing. We were just talking about at the stadium on Game Day Morning Live that the Titans won that game because of defense. That game turned with those two turnovers, Byard and David Long there in I believe it was late first quarter. That's why the Titans won that game.
Second,
The offense didn't contribute really anything other than converting their situational opportunities. They were good in short yardage. They were good in red zone. But first and second down was not good. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't take shots downfield. With Lewan in, and of course Davis as well, but with Lewan back, the disparity between Lewan and Bobby Hart is much greater than the disparity between Nate Davis and Aaron Brewer.
Exactly. And I do want to answer MB's question because he says, how was what I said about Lewan, how is that not applicable to Nate Davis too?
It's what I just said.
Being able to push the ball down the field. And MB, you're right to bring that up, and I'm glad you did. It just, what Luke just said about the difference in the drop-off of Lewan to Hart to Nate Davis to Aaron Brewer is the difference. And when you're passing the ball down the field, especially in the Titans offense, a lot of times it's off of play action where you have to make sure Ryan Tannehill's time from his blind side around that edge to set up. So, obviously you can't allow for pressure up the middle on these plays either, but there's a lot more stuff happening in the middle on these type of plays where the left tackle and the right tackle need to hold up for that extra split second to allow Tannehill to find his target or at least attempt a pass down the field.
I think I read the quote on the show on Thursday when I asked Mike Vrabel what went wrong in the running game, and I'm trying to find the exact quote here. I'm struggling to do that, but
it was basically along the lines of,
paraphrase. He was like, "We got to block better." Because when you don't block well, that's when guys get hurt. And he had this really serious, look on his face when he said that. I was like, oh, I touched a nerve there.
Oh, damn.
He's really not happy with the blocking last week.
Right. All right, so let's get to this next topic, Luke, because I do find this very interesting as we're about 15 minutes away from kickoff. So we spent a lot of time. Again, the one storyline that I think will determine this outcome is which head coach and coaching staff can overcome their own injury situation better than Sean Payton and Sean Payton better than Mike Vrabel, right? So we just talked about who's coming back for the Titans for a while, and I like that conversation. Julio's out, David Long Jr. out, Rashawn Evans out, Tierra Tart out. Those are four big Titans who are not playing in this game. So which Titans injury replacement do you have the most confidence in versus the Saints? And I think, Luke, I don't know how you feel about this, but Julio's out. So that means Marcus Johnson is probably that replacement on the outside as a starting receiver. Yeah. And then both starting linebackers are out for the Titans in Rashawn Evans and David Long, which means Jayon Brown and Monty Rice are in for the Titans on the inside. So I'll let you start with this one. Which Titans injury replacement do you have the most confidence in? Marcus Johnson in for Julio, or the linebacker duo of Rice and Jayon in for Long and Evans?
Which do I have the most confidence in?
Yes.
That's tough. I'm going to say Rice and Brown. What
about Brown Rice?
The options were.
Sorry, that's stupid.
The options were.
Can we call them the Uncle Ben LBs?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
The options.
This is so stupid.
The options were Johnson, right, and then the linebacker pair was their third option. There?
No, that's it. It's
okay.
those three. Yeah, sorry.
Well,
I'm sorry for just derailing that.
I'm going to go with the linebacking pair because I like Jayon Brown. I think he's better than Rashaan Evans. I think that one of the reasons the defense thrived so much is that they were forced to the entire game play the pair of Brown and Long, which I have been begging for all season over the pair of, Evans and whoever. But obviously no Evans, no Long. I'm interested to see what Monty Rice can do, and I don't think it's going to be that bad because it's like a month ago I was sort of asking Vrabel and Bowen, why haven't we seen more from the rookies? And they both said, well, man, Monty Rice has been playing great on special teams, and we think that's an indication of his cerebral grasp of the game. And look, that might be BS in your opinion, but they clearly like him. They have talked highly of him and his effort and his intelligence, and that leads me to believe that he is not in a position to fail today.
And, no Alvin Kamara.
Correct. That makes things a lot different when you're going against Mark Ingram, who obviously still has juice, but he's a running back in his 30s who's draft pick in 2011. A little bit different than having to face Kamara.
Yeah. So I think I agree with you. Now, it's you're waiting, and AJ has to have a big day. He's got to have a big day today. And he can't keep dropping these third down passes, but we all liked through training camp of the depth of the wide receiver group. Now, Josh Reynolds is gone because he wasn't getting anything.
We liked them for the depth that they were. The problem is now they are becoming the routine starters, right?
Yes, but they were the routine starters in training camp when Julio missed 20 consecutive days. And we liked what they were doing. We liked what Marcus Johnson and Chester Rogers were doing.
But what we were saying was these guys are going to be good depth pieces, which with Julio being the way that he's been and Chester Rogers also dealt with an injury, I think AJ missed a game too, right?
AJ did miss. He missed one, and he pulled out pretty early that first Colts game.
They're having to rely too much on these guys.
And what Caleb's right, AJ versus Lattimore is going to be tough. Other wide receivers got to step up. And
Dez
Fitzpatrick is active. He's active, and I have no idea what to expect.
Not much. That's what you can expect.
I mean, look, you've been out there at practice throughout the season, but again, you don't get a chance to look at.
Well, here's what I can tell you about Dez.
What can you tell about Dez Fitzpatrick on the practice squad for the last 9 weeks?
I can tell you that I rarely am able to find him on the practice field because he's never wearing his own jersey number because he's on the show team.
Right.
That's what I can tell you about Dez Fitzpatrick and his standing with the Titans. Now, this week, Vrabel was very complimentary of Dez Fitzpatrick.
He was, yeah.
I forget what exactly he said. Craig Aukerman also very complimentary of Dez Fitzpatrick. And so what you take away from that is, maybe they're not quite as unconfident as they were when Vrabel made the comment like he needs to be doing a lot better. But this is a guy who's on the show team and one time had to DM our A to Z account because I thought he was Racy McMath when I put a video up, and he's like, hey, that's Racy, that's not me. That's what I can tell you about watching Dez Fitzpatrick in practice and how unremarkable he has been.
Yeah, Derek says Dez about to light it up. No, he's not going to light it up. Now, what is he there for? Because Josh Reynolds is gone. Julio's on IR, so they need an extra body, and Racy McMath is still.
There it is from Jared. Luke being pessimistic. Imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, what else can
you're optimistic about Dez Fitzpatrick? I'm not saying they're going to lose, but I don't know why anyone would have confidence in this guy.
Well, there's nothing that we've been able to see for anybody to have confidence in him. But the fact that he was special teams show guy of the week on the practice squad means that they have more confidence in him to go out there and play teams than before.
I hear that once the game is over, they're going to be actually throwing a parade for him because of that award.
So, all right, let's on the fly question. Which Titans skill player outside of A.J. Brown has the best offensive day?
AD. I think he rebounds from last week. Volume will lead to him having a respectable game on the ground. What have we seen? I mean, Julio's been out a lot this year, and we have never ended a game saying, well, you know who the difference was today? It was Marcus Johnson or Chester Rogers. So I'm going to take the safe bet with that one and go with Adrian Peterson.
A lot of people are getting Nick Westbrook-Akine.
Oh.
And Foreman, like Deontay Foreman, what can he do now with more opportunities? I'm just curious to see how it goes because last week against the Rams, we truly didn't get what it's exactly going to look like without Derrick Henry. Because of those turnovers early in the game, it didn't really count towards, okay, here's what the Titans are going to be minus Henry.
You know, like the 5 stages of grief?
Yes.
Denial, acceptance, whatever they are. The Titans were like still in the midst of those stages last week after losing Derrick Henry.
But the way the game played out, we didn't allow them to see them work through it, right?
Maybe now they hit the acceptance phase and we can see this offense chug along with a better offensive line than it did last week.
Do you expect a better, you got to expect a better offense.
I expect everything to be better this week offensively than last week. Passing game, short, intermediate, downfield, and the running game. It's all going to be better today.
We got Billy Jones going with Michael Pruitt, Max saying Foreman, a lot of NWI answers right here. Lewis says AP, always prepared. Troy says, with all that preseason hype, Marcus Johnson needs to show up. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be nice. Has he done anything other than like a 15-yard
Marcus Johnson? There was a game, again, all the games start to run together, especially with the rotating door of injuries for the Titans. But he was on IR for a few weeks early in the season. There was a game he came back and he had like 50-plus receiving yards in the first half.
Yeah.
And he made, honestly, I think it was the Jets game. And he had really nice plays to convert third downs in that game. It might have been something else. Tyrell says Marcus Johnson sucks. He does not suck.
That's false.
He is better than any other Titans wide receiver at that level that he is. He's a really good wide receiver 4 or wide receiver 3. Today he's second-ish because Nick Westbrook-Akine.
I'm looking at Mike Vrabel wearing a blue vest over his green salute to service shirt.
Yep.
Does not go well together. He needed to just go with the green.
Fashion police Luke Worsham here on the show today.
Unfortunately, I can't be there to ask him about that after the game today.
I'm sure he would love to answer your question about that. A to Z Sports here live on this NashvillePowerSports.com pregame show. Once again, hit up NashvillePowerSports.com for your brand new golf cart to dominate the neighborhood and also get it for your business as well. So, Luke, we're going to get to it.
Yeah.
It is time for our predictions. Who wins this game? Right now, it's Titans -3 on the BetMGM app. Titans -3. They've been there all week long as a 3-point favorite, even with all the injuries. So your predictions now here on the show. We want to see what you guys think. Who wins this game? Titans 3-point favorites. Also, don't forget, download the BetMGM app. Use our code ATOZ Sports, and with a risk-free bet up to $1,000 with your first bet after your first deposit. So here are the steps. You download the BetMGM app, use code ATOZ Sports, make your first deposit, and your first bet's risk-free up to $1,000. It's a great way to jumpstart your bankroll because if you lose it, you get those free bets to build it right back. If you win it, happy winnings. BetMGM.com is where to go for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years old and must be present in Tennessee. And for gambling problem support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Luke, what you got?
I think it's hard to pick against the Titans today. I mean, we talked about the Saints' run defense being as good as it is. They do have Marshawn Lattimore, the uber-talented cornerback. I refuse to bet in favor of a team that has Trevor Siemian at quarterback. I can't do it, man. And I'm not overlooking the Saints. Granted, it's not my job to overlook or not overlook someone.
Right. Yep.
But the Titans have won 5 straight. They're locked in. And we were talking before the show about how the Titans have had this tendency to they get everyone really excited and on board, and, man, look at them go, and then it all comes crashing down. I'm not going to say that they're over that. I think it's going to be hard for the Saints to win this game. Trevor Siemian's going to be under fire all game with this nearly elite Titans pass rush.
Right. Yep.
The offense is going to be better than it was last week. This is a game that the Titans should and I think probably will win. It's going to be tough for
You have
New
a
Orleans.
score prediction for us?
How about?
I can come back to you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll read some comments.
Sorry, that caught me off guard.
I got you. Yeah. Always got to have score predictions here on this show before the game. All right. Derek says Titans 24-14. Troy says Titans 21-17. Boogeyman Gaming saying, Austin, please bet against the Titans. Tyrell says Titans. Boogeyman says, please, Austin. Lane says 24-10 Titans. Ahmad saying 40 to Goose Egg Titans. Justin with 23-18 Titans. Sam 31-10 Titans. Another Justin 23-9. Jared says Titans will cover. MB says Titans 24-21. Max 27-17 Titans. Billy says Titans by 13. Look, Jabu saying Austin needs to pick the Saints. Hey, Don, first Saints pick, 24-21 Saints. So now, Luke, do you have that prediction ready? You have that score ready?
Yeah, let's go 20-10. Titans win.
20-10 Titans. Luke, I think this is an underplay. I don't see many points here at Nissan Stadium available. I just don't think. I think with both defenses playing as well as they are, both offenses having key injuries, I'm going to go 17-14 Saints.
Okay, so less points, but closer than mine.
Did you hear what I said?
17-14 Saints.
17-14 Saints. I didn't get much of a reaction to it.
Well, why?
I was expecting you picked the Titans by 10. You just kept going. Like, I thought you would react to thinking that me picking the Saints was weird.
TBH, I misheard you. Maybe it just took me a second to process. Why?
17-14 Saints.
Explain to us why you think the Titans are going to beat the Saints today.
Why they're going to lose the Saints?
The other way around.
I just think when this is the typical Titans have a winning. No, that's what it is. That's what it is. And something weird's going to happen.
What was it you said about the Jets game? What's the
smelled
adjective?
Funny.
Yeah,
smelled
funny.
This one does not smell as funny as, and I picked the Titans to beat the Jets in that game.
I just don't think the Saints team has much juice.
I don't think this game smells funny like the Jets game. I just don't know. I envision.
So you have to envision some sleepwalking on the Titans'
I envision a non-offensive touchdown by the New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
And I think that is what happens.
Okay.
I think something wacky happens, and Titans fans are like, what the hell? And so I say 17-14 Saints.
Well, we'll be back in about an hour and a half to figure out how wrong you are with that.
We will. So bring it on. It doesn't smell as bad as this Jet game. It also doesn't smell as good as the food I'm about to order here at the Mainstay because I'm hungry.
I am too.
I don't know about you. I'm starving.
All I've had is my daily strawberry Nutri-Grain bar that I eat every morning before getting out of bed.
All right, guys. So we will see you at halftime. Thanks again to our sponsors here, the Mainstay. Great food, great drinks, great spot here next to Nissan Stadium. Come over here after the game or watch it with us here at the Mainstay. Also, NationalPowersports.com. Get your brand new golf cart right there, customized any level. NationalPowersports.com and the BetMGM app. Guys, we'll see you at halftime. Enjoy the first half. Thanks.